Up next this morning is the Hokes Bluff Eagles, the dean of Etowah County coaches, 27, I believe. Is this
26.
26. 26 years, Coach Mike Robertson. If anybody bleeds green, this man does. I asked him before he went up there, has he added any more jobs? Because he used to do everything out there. And we always have a joke that I used to visit him. I'd go to the pool.
Still doing that. 38 years at the swimming pool.
38 years at the swimming pool. So, yeah. Coach Rob, thanks for being here. Would you introduce the two guys you have with you and then give us an outlook on the season for the Hokes Bluff Eagles and answer a few questions for us?
Well, first of all, thank all of you for doing this. I do miss those days, Jeff, when you were at the pool, though. But thanks for the kind words. We got J.R. Golden. He's senior lineman, been a 3-year starter. J.R. played both sides of the ball for us. To my right is Jordan Bradley. Jordan started at weak safety last year, and he's going to be playing there, and also will be our quarterback at this time. Of course, competition's still out there for both these guys. I want to mention that. But far as our team goes, we lost some really good players. You know, I think that's the first thing you've got to look at. But we've got a lot of good players back. And we've had a good summer workout, spring training. We got to have a really good spring training. We didn't play a game. But we had 8 good days of spring training, and summer workouts have went really well. We've gotten bigger, faster, and stronger. Of course, we had a lot of room to improve. So I don't know where that puts us at, but it's been a good summer. You know, these two guys are 2 of our leaders, and that's why they're here. And you know, last year I didn't bring any players. I just kind of didn't feel like it was necessary in a way. But I want to mention they're not wearing their jerseys. I'll let them answer that question, why they don't wear their jerseys. But if you're wondering why they're just in their travel shirts. But anyway, thank you guys.
Coach, I know the Coach Allred was asked this question by, I guess, Jerry over there. But talk about the region. You were in 4A. You were in a tough region in 4A. We've talked about that before. And you drop into the toughest region in 3A instead of Alabama. Tough competition there.
Well, it is, you know, but now that I've been through a lot of wars, I guess you'd say, it's just part of it. You know, they moved us around there on a 3A deal. Some of you remember that deal a year and a half ago. It is tough, and Coach Allred, I have so much respect for him, but what he's talking about with his injuries is a big deal. When you play tough teams, you are going to get injuries in football. I don't care what level it is, pro, college, pee-wee football, whatever. So that's probably the biggest thing on that. When you play a tough team, each week, something's going to happen there with an injury. So when you don't have a lot of depth, it just magnifies it. So I guess that's the biggest thing. But you're right. It's a SEC Central, as I've said. You know, we just went from 4A to 3A. I thought Teddy would ask me about the Braves, his Braves, but go ahead.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask the question to the players. Why do you not have your jerseys on?
Okay, so it's just one of those things. It's always been a big deal at Hokes Bluff. You know, you only wear the jersey 2 times a year, on picture day and during the game. It's just one of those things. It's always been a special tradition and just something we've always stuck with.
Yeah, it's very honorary. I mean, the jersey's for the game, I believe. And if you're going to work that hard, you should earn it. And I think you earn it on game days. So.
And I'll add to that came from Danny Payne. That's not Mike Robertson. And Danny Payne got that from Coach Bryant at Alabama. So that's just tradition. I followed from Coach Payne, who followed it from Coach Bryant, who he played for. Not a big deal, but it is.
Excuse me, Coach. I'm going to continue with the players. What does it mean to you for Coach Rob to ask you to come to Media Day, to sit before the media and talk about the Hokes Bluff Eagles?
It's very special to me. I think just as a player, it's a very honorary thing. I mean, we have 63 players out right now, and it's very important that, you know, he chose us too. I think it shows the leadership that we have on this team, and it's very honorable to me. I'm very proud that I actually got chosen to be here today.
It's one of those things that, just like Jordan said, it definitely shows that we're 2 of the leaders of the team, and, you know, those guys who have worked really hard in the off season and, you know, have really deserved to be here today. And, you know, we have a lot of other good guys who, you know, probably deserve it a lot to be here today too. But I'd say the biggest thing is just leadership and showing what kind of leaders we are in the locker room.
All right, guys. playing for a coach like Coach Rob and knowing the tradition of Hokes Bluff football, how does that make you guys feel? Being able to follow in the footsteps of some great players like Ashton Gullidge, Darian Meads, Tyler Snowballs, and those guys.
It's really great, especially since Ashton and Braden Hill, they were our seniors. You learn a lot from that stuff. I mean, they're D1 football players, and they always acted like it every day of practice. And I just really want to follow in their footsteps. I mean, they were great players, and they had the mentality of it. And it's very important to me that I do what they do.
I'd say the biggest thing from it is just the learning experience, just, trying to carry over what they did from our freshman year. And, now we're in that role that they were in, of that leadership role that, now we have to learn from what they did and try and carry it over and give the same thing to our younger guys that they gave to us.
Coach, I want to first apologize. I'm sure your blood pressure's risen. My son's playing on your team this year.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that definitely raised your blood pressure some. But I want to brag on these two gentlemen right here beside you, on each side of you individually. I work out Wilmore Gym, and I see these two young men amongst others from your team that's in there. I mean, really getting after and busting their butt behind closed doors when you're not there watching. What does that mean for you? You've instilled that kind of working man's mentality with these young men, not just these two, but all across your team?
Well, it's just not me. We're getting a lot of me up here right now, but it's my assistant coaches. I've let Coach Morgan and Coach Sexton, Coach Ball, and Coach B. Rob. By the way, that's my son. They won't let him call him Coach Rob. He's B. Rob. But they do a great job. All of our workouts, you can ask these two guys, they were probably at 90% of the workouts. I'm talking about all of them in the summertime. And when I started coaching, I didn't ask the assistant coaches to come because, guys, they make very little money. And that's, and I was the head coach. So I was at the workouts. If y'all want to show up, do it, but go spend time with your families. And they come, and Coach Morgan's pretty much led us in our workouts. So I guess all that kind of comes together. I kind of stand back now and watch, and I think I've done a little better job delegating as I've gotten older. Jeff, when you get older, you delegate more. But seriously, our coaches do a great job. But really, it's the players, and you talk about them guys coming down there. I tell the players all the time, if I'm not at practice or a coach is not at practice, can you go on and do your job? Because you guys know when they get on the field on Friday nights, I'm not out there. I'm just standing over there hoping and praying that they're going to do what we ask them to do. So I do think some of that, the leadership, I tell them all the time, leadership is really kind of when the coach is not around. When I'm standing here right now, they're not going to say anything bad right now, I don't think. But when I'm not around, ask them some questions and see. But these two guys are good people. And, good people will make good players. Coach Saban says that a lot. And we've got really good people in our locker room. We've got a couple that test us, but, it's just kind of human nature. But I think these two guys do what you said. If coaches didn't show up for workouts, we'd still work out. I believe that. And, it's not going to mean every game's probably going to be a win at times, but I'm proud to say that our players take on that pride of just doing it because they're supposed to do it. That's your job. We talked about that yesterday. You can do your job. Coach Saban says that. Not again, keep bringing up him, but I got a lot of respect to him. He just wins, but how he wins. And so anyway, but that's a good question.
Coach, going back to, you said you had 63 players, and what you talked about before, that in this region you're in, injuries are inevitable going against the top teams. How are you looking depth-wise if these guys can step up and take those places, particularly on the offensive and defensive lines?
Well, still real early to make probably some of those guesswork of that. But we tried to build some depth. Spring training was probably the best spring training we've got to have due to baseball. We got beat in the first round of baseball, so it gave us a little more time to get organized for spring. But I don't really know yet. We've got some ninth graders that have impressed us in the weight room. They went undefeated last year as eighth graders, so we're looking for some of them maybe to fill some of those spots. But there's always this deal, and Coach already kind of talked about having to move players. Some positions we probably have more depth, some we don't, and so that's kind of what you go through in spring. And then now we're doing it this week. Do we need to move a player to a new position because we're a little short in that depth-wise situation? So, but it's a little bit early because, everybody looks good in shorts. All you guys could come out there right now and play a little bit, even you, Teddy, but I like to pick on Teddy. But But when you really don't know, you put the pads on. And we only got to hit 2 or 3 days in the spring, but we did figure out some stuff. But Coach Payne, who most of you know is dear to my heart, he used to say, separate the men from the boys when the pad come on and get on, and do a little contact. You find out who really wants to play this sport, because this is not. And I'll coach them all. Y'all know baseball. This is not basketball. This is football. That headgear hurts, guys. If you guys that played have forgotten. I got ran over in the spring a little bit, and I remember now, that thing hurts. So till we get pads on, depth would be a question a little bit. That's a good question.
Coach, I know we're 3 weeks away from the season starting. 4 for you. I think you start on the 26th against Southside. But 4 weeks, looking at the team as a whole, what would you say would be the strength you think right now the Hokes Bluff Eagle football team in 2021?
Well, these guys know I like to tell the truth. It's not speed. It's not quickness. Strength-wise, we've gotten stronger. But I think just attitude, I really do. We had a talk yesterday about attitude, but for our leaders have good attitudes. And good attitude carries you a lot further than sometimes just ability. How you take on bad situations, attitude overcomes that. So really, attitude. Hopefully, wanting to do better than last year. We went 5-5 last year under the situation of the virus and so forth. Probably it was what it was. It was an average year. So I think these guys want to do a little better than that this year. So attitude's going to carry on that. But we have a tough schedule. We talked about. We're playing a Southside 6A, Sardis is 5A, and then Spring Gardens 2A. 1A, help me out. 2A, but they're not a 2A team if you've seen them play. They're better than that. So, I don't know who made the schedule out, but he's pretty stupid, So that was me, by the way. So anyway, so these guys are in for a challenge. But, I don't know if any of y'all remember Principal Ray Campbell with the Hokes Bluff when I was in school in the 70s. Y'all were too young. Verge back there nodding his head. He's showing his age. But Mr. Campbell used to tell Coach Reeves and Coach Payne, I heard him. I was sitting there as a kid or a player. He said, play a good team every week. Your players be ready to play every week, because those games when you're supposed to win will get you fired. And I remembered that. I'm thinking. I talked to Coach Payne and Coach Reeves about that later on as I talked with them about coaching. And it's not the truth, guys. You need to. Coach Bear Bryant, they said, I apologize for calling him Bear because I made a commitment not to call him that. Coach Bryant always scheduled. You look back at the Alabama teams, they played 2 tough games, and they had of course, we don't have any cake. They had an easy game. Coach Bryant knew that way before anybody else did. You can't play. You play a tough team every week. It's just hard. You guys that played know. So that's where attitude comes in. So attitudes, I think, our biggest asset.
Coach, I know with losing Will Clemens at linebacker and then Hunter Burke as 2 big leaders, is that a position where it's going to be, I guess, focused on in fall practice? And are there any other positions as well y'all were going to kind of get things figured out?
Should have known, Teddy, you was going to bring up those good players we lost. But we did lose 2 great players and some other really good players too. But Will and Hunter, these guys, I tell you, 2 great leaders, guys that played for 4 years. But yeah, that has been our kind of an emphasis a little bit. Linebacker position, in our scheme, of course, most schemes on defense, you better have good linebackers, better have a good quarterback, and we occasionally need some blocking too. So don't leave JR out. But yeah, linebackers is something of emphasis. So that's a great observation, Teddy. And so we're working on that. I think we got some guys capable. We've got some depth there, believe it or not, and a couple of them are 9th and 10th graders. But we got to fill 2 big shoes there. I laugh about Hunter. All of y'all remember Hunter. Y'all know what number he was, number 30. Even Teddy asked me one time, why do you keep throwing up ball number 30? I said, because he catches the darn thing. And he does something with it. But Hunter never looked like he's doing anything, but he found a way to be a winner. And that's what those 2 guys were. But we're working on replacing them.
Coach, thanks a lot.
All right.
Good luck to the Hokes Bluff Eagles. Always good to see you. Good luck,
sir.
Guys. And you open with Southside on the 26th of August.
Yes, sir. Thanks for reminding me. Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, guys.